Hey,
What's up, y'all? What up? What up? What up?
what's up, everybody? Hey, y'all.
I'm supposed to say hey too. What's up? I thought I was just a part of the conglomerate, so I was just like, okay, they talking to them.
We are talking to the people, them,
You
the
in
people,
here
them listening
now?
and watching.
But check it out. It's 8 o'clock in the east, 5 o'clock in the west. Y'all know how we doing Wednesday. It Wednesdays. It is the guys podcast. Uh, Shout out to everybody out there on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, who's viewing us right now. All our faithful listeners out there on 1 Mile High Radio. Shout out to all the viewers out there on Blackjack TV, channel 199. Bobby Blackjack come through. Shout out to all our partners, everybody supporting us in the background. Shout out to the squad who ain't with us tonight: Sean, Merv, Mark, Tina B. I think that's. I'm gonna hand it over to Cousin because we got a guest in the building tonight. Who we got? Who we got in the building
We
tonight?
do
Introduce the
have a
guest.
This is my homegirl, y'all. So me and A, she goes by ADF the kid. I'm gonna try
You
not
can call
to.
me Ange.
Okay,
You,
her name is Ange. We call her Angie in these streets. Me and Angie have known each other since about 2015, 16. I want to say
13. 13.
Oh, the first year I moved down here. Oh, wow. Wow, I've known you that long? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
well, me and
Mm-hmm.
Ange, we've done improv comedy in the Charlotte metro area for quite a while. This girl does everything. She writes, she produces, she's grabbed her son in to do photography. She has a podcast. She is very well versed in all things entertainment, I would say.
I
So I
appreciate it.
wanted her to come on the show tonight to give her expertise on this particular topic because this is something that me and her have talked about, I guess, since
For
2013.
years. Yeah.
Yes, we've
Like,
talked about these things, and just a new face on the screen for now. So everybody say hello to Ange. Yay! That's
Hey Angie, how you doing? My mama named Angie. My mama and them named Angie too. Just so you know, so that's why I said I
they're
won't
good
forget your name.
people. Good people.
My mama and
Yeah.
them. Yeah, her name Angie.
Rebecca, excuse me, Becca, is that what we're doing? She's
Becky,
been trying to
Rebecca,
get me
whatever.
on here for a minute. Are you happy now, Gina? Clean, down.
Yes, you applied your cake and you got me. Yes, I will marry you.
Marry you.
I
will
mean,
marry you.
are you happy now?
Yo, that was the fucking worst proposal
Oh
in fucking
man,
television history.
we watch that stuff now as adults. Like it was always funny back in the day, but watching it now as adults, watching that, girlfriends, all of that, I'd be like, I really be with the side eye. Like they add the laugh track, but in real life, that's some bullshit right there. That what
And then
they
Gina looked at more and like, that was the best proposal ever. Now, if you excuse me, I have a plane to catch.
yeah.
Hey,
AKA, nigga, you got me fucked up. That's what that meant.
Yeah, Mark
That's
got
what that
with his
meant.
Mark got with his homeboys, and he actually explained that shit to them like he was cool. Like it
Right.
was cool. Like his proposal was like it was like the
Legit,
second one. The
like-
second
like-
one was dope. The real one was fucking dope. As a matter of fact,
Yeah,
let's
of
just
course.
talk because.
Of
But
course.
I mean, is it?
Tommy wasn't having it though. He was like, "Man, Martin, come on, you gotta do better."
Come on, bro. Yeah, that ain't it. It's still men that do that type of thing now, or they move like that now, and like you said, think they good, think it's cool. Like I don't see. I'm trying to see what the problem is. Everybody else,
But we will get we'll get into that tonight because there definitely is a miscommunication between men and women that we kind of want to dive into, and this is not in verses. So, all those listening and watching, this is not a verses. This is for us to try and figure out where the miscommunication came from and how to fix it. So, first of all, it's Hump Day? So, happy Hump Day, everybody!
I'm glad somebody getting some. If I ain't, you do your thing out there.
So you could just go straight nasty, huh?
I'm just I was just staying in tune with the theme. Hump Day.
I'm messing with you. But
it's not a versus takes on. What's up?
I think I did.
Is that what they do?
You know how I told y'all that I don't usually post on my page. I did post today because I thought it was Thursday all day today. And I think because it's been a really shitty week
Oh,
I
and
do too.
I posted like it's way too shitty of a week for it just to be Wednesday, man. Why can't we just
it's been a
fast
long
forward to Friday? Yeah, it's just been terrible. I've been very irritable, and you know it's like that when you're at work, man. Especially when
Are you
some
on your
point.
period? Are you on
I
your
was
period?
gonna say, do you know when your male cycle is? Because I think that's a thing, kind of.
Men have periods.
Whoa,
We'll talk about that later too. Men
wait a
have
fucking
periods.
minute. Wait a fucking minute. That came out of nowhere first and foremost. But no,
Men have periods.
I have a very low tolerance for stupidity, and that's what I've been dealing with the entire fucking week. Stupidity. I mean, is it
What
asking
the
too much
fuck?
for people
Yeah.
for people to be less stupid? Is it too much? Less incompetent?
You're not asking for too much, but you're asking for something that's impossible.
You're right.
Mhm.
You're right. So I guess
because I'm noticing people getting stupider and stupider. Stupidest.
Yeah, it's just. But at any rate, I mean, I am among the living, so I gotta. I mean, you gotta shout it out to that. I mean, I'm waking up. Woke up this morning. Hope
That's
God
true.
willing, wake up tomorrow. I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, every day above ground, though, man. I can't complain, man. I mean, even though I just did a little, but yeah, that's how my week going so far. Hopefully these next 2 days is much better than fucking Monday and fucking two. Today went Wednesday, yeah. The first 3 weeks was yeah. Hopefully these last two days of the week. Shit.
What about you, Ange? How's your week been so far?
It's been good. I'm a little bit lighter these days. For reasons that maybe we'll get into later in the conversation. But like I'm cool. Yeah, I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to I'm trying to be more positive. You know where I'm coming from. But yeah, it's been a good week. Like you said, every day above ground. I'm good. I got my wine, without saying too much.
What you got, Stack? She got wine. I got some Arnold Palmer in the cup. It's a little low.
I told you it's a shitty week, so I'm just going all in Casamigos. I don't give a fuck what you think of me. Shit, it's ghetto, all of that. It's definitely a hood nigga night. I'm sorry. Shit. I don't know what y'all want me to do, but if had y'all had gone through some of the things that I had gone through this week, you'd be drinking fucking Everclear straight. Shit.
Some moonshine straight to the face. That's okay, Stacks. It's a no judgment zone. So you are right. You're right here in amongst the guys. You good. Rika said, dang, homie, you having a rough one this week. Yeah, Rika.
I am. Pray for me, classmate. Shit.
Oh, Sam.
Why do I keep adding shit after everything? Why?
Devil's lettuce here to make the week breeze by.
I know what you're talking about. Go ahead and get you some of that devil's lettuce. I support it.
So I had to read that and go, devil's lettuce? Oh, I get it now. Devil's lettuce. You get it, Ange? Devil's lettuce?
Hell no.
We'll talk.
Y'all crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all crazy.
We ain't that damn crazy.
Why you gotta be the devil's lettuce though? Maybe
right.
That's why I ain't put the two and two together.
God put this here for me and for you. Take it back. You know what?
Right. I mean, at this point,
but now I know what it means. So that's
So now you're gonna use that, right?
No, I'm not.
No,
I'm not. I'm old school. You got some reefer.
I like that. That's our parents. That's our parents. But people still use that. Yeah.
My husband says reefer.
Yeah, it's reefer.
I still use it from time to time. Man, what's going on with reefer?
He says reefer. He said it to me the first time. I was like, reefer? Are you lying to me about your age? We say weed. What, reefer? What are you talking about, reefer?
I say weed too.
That's a throwback, man.
What is a reefer? I don't know what a reefer is. I know weed.
You know what reefer is. You don't heard.
But whatever the new thing that Jay smoking is not the same weed I smelled in the 90s. Because whatever
I know you done heard reefer several times when you used to come down from up north and we was at my grandmother's house and all that stuff. They probably weren't supposed to be saying it in front of us, but they were scheming for their little reefer. We were just worried about is Becky and Issa gonna be? We didn't even give a damn. We just wanted to see y'all.
Only they cared. Y'all did not care. Y'all like when we came down. It was all right, cool, party time.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Bring on a refund alcohol.
Absolutely.
Not crazy.
So let's all get into the topic. We're gonna just start this off real easy. And I got a question to ask y'all. What's beef? Why
beef
men and women got beef? What
I can tell you why.
What's beef?
Beef is when you need your enemies to start your Jeep. Beef is when you roll molested. I gotta give it up to B.I. I gotta give it up to B.I.
My bad. Stand up.
Yeah, we gotta talk about that. It's what 20? I think it's 25 years. 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I was. Matter of fact,
isn't that crazy?
It is. I can still tell you where I was. I was in high school. We had an invitational track meet. I was in Hilton Head. It was on Saturday morning, and we was having our meeting before we go to the track meet. They came across the TV, and we were devastated. Absolutely. But I still went out there and did my thing because I was all state my senior year. You know what I'm saying? So I just got to throw that in there, you know. But yeah, shout out to Big, man. Where was y'all? Do y'all remember? I knew exactly where
I was young. I was in middle school. I don't even know where I was in that moment, but I was mad young when that happened.
Yep, Rika was with me. She was on track team too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, I'm trying to figure out where I was.
How do you not remember that?
Because it was 25 years ago. I don't remember yesterday. I don't remember yesterday. Maybe I smoked some reefer. I don't remember yesterday. Where was I? Well, all right. So I remember hearing about him dying, and I was like,
you got to be a junior because you were a year behind me. You graduated high school in 98, right? Oh, so you was a junior in high school. Okay, so you don't remember where you was?
Well, I definitely was in high school.
March 9th, 97? It was a Saturday, as a matter of fact. That's probably why you don't remember.
Well, that was 25 years ago, cousin. I don't know.
I just remember it was all over BET.
Yeah.
And that's about as much as I can remember from that time. Like middle school and back was kind of a blur, but you know.
One thing I do remember about him passing, him being murdered, is that I know a lot of me and my friends from going to a performing arts high school, music and theater and TV, all of that was part of our lives. So Biggie dying was like, oh man, what we gonna do? Like, who we gonna listen to? It almost felt like music was over. It felt like we ain't got no Tupac or no Biggie. Like what the hell? Like, what we gonna do now? And then that's when everybody else started to, to flourish in the music business. But I often think about, like, if Biggie was still alive, what would music look like now? You know what I'm saying? So I just that's all I remember. But I remember it being like really, really sad. I remember Diddy doing the most. He misses his brother so badly. He misses his brother so badly, but
I don't believe that Jay-Z would have been Jay-Z if Biggie hadn't passed.
I agree, and that's my favorite rapper of all time, and I often think about that as far as if Jay-Z would have the success that he had Big not die. But I also think we would have known Jay-Z. It's just they would have collaborated a lot because they were friends and stuff like that. But I think Jay-Z, Big would have been the guy because he was the guy. Came onto the scene like gangbusters, and he was just killing it. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely think he would have evolved at some point from rapper and just to his own lane. I think that was the goal. I don't see him rapping as long as Jay-Z has been. I think his mind was probably on to other avenues of business. But we'll never know.
Real quick, I'm gonna leave this comment up here because Rika has a memory like a dinosaur. Okay, so we was having a meeting before we go to our meet, and our coach, he's really funny guy. I actually talked to
Oh
him today because we
wow,
still talk.
wow.
Yeah, this is what he said. He said, "Well, like I
I'm
guess he
not
was ready."
laughing at it. I'm
It
not
was
laughing.
it wasn't funny back then when I was 17. It was funny a little bit afterwards, but yeah, if you know him and how he talked, it was very hilarious. But I just that thought we had to bring that up. Shout out to Notorious B.I.G. 25 years. Can't believe it's been that long.
Right.
And as always, we always love you, Big Papa.
Mm.
And now that makes me think about all of we are officially old school.
Mm-hmm.
All of our artists that we listen to are now approaching over 20 years in the business.
Mm-hmm.
It's so crazy. For us, old school is, as far as rappers go, KRS-One, Kumo D, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Rakim.
for these kids, their old school rapper is who?
Is
Kanye.
Nas. Is
Kanye for some of them.
It's not even Nas and Jay-Z, because those are old school for us. So these
Jeezy, Fab, they getting past age, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, keep the stop. That last shit, I don't know what that was. I'm not with it. I know you're trying to merge with the times. Stay in the track. That wasn't it. That was not it.
Yeah.
No.
It's so crazy that in the next couple years, all of our old school artists will be 30 years in the business, 30 plus years in the business, 40 plus years in the business. We are starting to, we get old, y'all.
I'm gonna tell you something that's crazy too. We talk about now how these newer rappers, they so young and getting shot and getting killed so young. They were in their 20s when they died.
Both
and it's like,
Tupac,
I don't know why we feel like they were so much more mature and involved in all of these things. They were mad young too. So it's history repeating itself. We just look at it so differently now as elders.
That's very
right, because we were born in the 1900s.
Right.
And my son makes it a point that my son will be 22 this year. He makes it a point to call me old and shit like that and tell me you was born in the 1900s. I'm like, why you gotta say it like that? Like, damn. Yeah, like I was born in 1900 versus being born in 79. Like, what the fuck?
Right. We was the 79, 80. Like, we were the end of the 1900s. Now I was born in 1905. Like, damn.
Right.
It's crazy.
But yeah, that is crazy, and that is true. But I don't. Maybe that is a really far-fetched memory. But you're right. Biggie and Tupac died in their 20s, but I feel like we didn't have a lot of our artists dying super young like they have now.
Mm-mm.
Most of ours they're still alive, to be honest with you. Most of them are still alive.
Yeah.
We got LL, we got Fab, we got...
Don't take Nas, Jesus.
Okay, I won't say NAS. All of them, they're still alive. So
you had hold on. Let's pack this. You have an issue with Nas?
No, I said don't take him.
Don't take Nas.
Don't take him.
He gotta live forever, because that's how I feel about Jay-Z. Jay-Z gotta live forever.
So you're a Nas fan?
Very much so. What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
Sean,
I mean,
there's just
a better option out there.
So I know. Well, hold on.
There's a better option out there.
Tonight's topic is not about that. I'm not putting one up against the other. I'm not saying Jay-Z is not the greatest. I'm not saying that. But I am a Nas fan, very much so.
I'm a fan of both of their music, but I mean, there's
and
only
he's
one
very
God.
likable, so that helps.
See,
can we get back on track? We can get back on track. Go ahead with what you. Yeah,
you good. You good.
Pluck the pearls and button the sweater. Yes.
Method Man. We still got Method Man.
Yeah.
Minus
Young Pool though, because Dave East fine. I'm sorry, this is the guys' podcast. I don't want to turn it into something else.
No, you fine. You're all right. They understand.
You a guest, like Will Bernie Mac said, welcome, motherfucker, welcome.
Welcome. Right. He said these new rappers have a lower standard of morals than
that we can talk about that shit all night. And Jamal, I don't want to be Jamal. What I try to do, and I want to talk about that real quick. I try not to be that get off of my lawn hip hop head where I just dismiss these newer artists. But it's I'm trying to tell you, it's just hard.
It's difficult.
Listen, it's very, very hard, man. I most of the shit I listen to nowadays that's like current is the shit from like Griselda. You know, you gotta be spitting that shit, man. But other than that, I'm listening to old shit. Like I was watching the Kanye documentary on Netflix, which is fucking phenomenal.
It is
which
very
is which is fucking phenomenal.
Mine is Cootie talking like a freed slave. But other than that, I did not like the narration.
Hey, right, yeah.
It was time for me to find out.
It was real short, but
I need to find out what Kanye thought about his mother.
No. Hey, said Kanye. He wants you to. We know
right.
Kanye.
I was worried about how
Kanye
was going with Kanye.
Hey, and he was like, it seems like the bigger Kanye. It seemed like the bigger Kanye got, farther we grew apart.
Where the ball? Where's the ball? Jumping across the word.
Like what in the
little basketball? I said, bro, like, what are we doing? I cannot.
He borderline sound like a hood Forrest Gump. If you really want to think about it like that, man, if you probably can't unhear it.
I'm gonna tell you unhear it now. He was reading something because on film when he was talking, he ain't talking like that. I said, did he not know? Is this something? Is something not?
Right.
Murray had a little. It was just real.
I had wondered if I was going to go.
That's exactly how it was.
I was
running.
But for those of you who haven't watched it, if you can get past that part, you know, it's very interesting.
It is.
I knew it was coming.
It is really dope. It gave me a new appreciation for Kanye, and it made the way he, and I know we're getting kind of off topic, but the way he had to put together the College Dropout made me appreciate it tenfold, man. I mean that. I don't want to get off topic to what, but
you can't. But we can't leave that without rebuttals. So for me, I didn't look at him any different afterwards. I always had the same level of respect. Here's what I told somebody who didn't watch it. I said, at the end of the day, a lot of that stuff that they showed, I could understand. I saw that while it was going on. It still doesn't negate the fact that sometimes this nigga lose his fucking mind. And I'm not about to excuse that bullshit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Are you brilliant? Yes. I've never said that you aren't. Do you have some things you need to work on? Everybody do. Hey, this is perfect. We're going to circle back to some mental health and things like that. You see what you did? I see what you did, girl. You good. Girl, you good. So, but there is a lot there that still needs some work. And he admitted in there, he said, you know, he needs a translator because sometimes he just does not articulate himself the way, or it doesn't come across the way that, I guess, in his mind, that he would have liked to the masses. You know, it's just a lot.
It's processing in his head so fast that he's thinking one thing after another. It's like it's firing off in his head. So while he's thinking one thing and trying to process it and verbally say it, 50 thoughts are already passed. So it's really hard for him to kind of get it all out.
Right.
I feel like Kanye's a Gemini, and every time I watched the doc, I felt like a damn Gemini. I was like, yes, I love him. I can't stand him, but I love him. Damn, he's good. No, he's not. Because I felt like, oh my God, when you look at how much he went through and how they really was trying to play him like he wasn't a star. He was begging other
But you artists. Remember that though. Don't you remember that? You can see that in him.
Yes, he was begging artists for 10 minutes of studio time. We talk about Kanye West was begging Pharrell and Ludacris for some studio time. Just begging, like, please listen to my music. I'll give you
now he is the second highest paid mogul in the
Right.
world.
So for all of that to happen to where he is now, I could see how he went from having to beg to studio time to being such a big artist. Why he would be so arrogant and so cocky. Like, look, none of y'all was messing with me, and I did it anyway. I know no Rockefeller didn't even give me no money for my videos. I did it anyway, and I made myself a star. So I can understand why he has that arrogance.
That
But then,
and not to excuse the fact, but I'm glad that they presented the timeline of everything to the rest of the world to so they could go back and reflect. Like, yeah, he did start kind of acting a little shaky when you like losing, the matriarch for you, his mother. That's
yeah,
big deal. I
Yeah.
understand that. You, Rebecca, understand that, and I'm sure you've had a loss that things are gonna get a little rocky after that. You don't have your common sense over here,
right.
telling you, hey, you know what I mean? Like tame it a little
And,
bit. Because
and,
he was always a little outlandish, but
and,
that
and
does
to,
change a person.
and to your point, Angie, I lost my father back in '05.
Mm,
Becca lost hers back in 2010. And
yeah.
I'm not going to speak for her, but I will tell you that changed me. It made me. I was 25 years old. Fortunately, he raised me. I had him for 25 years, but my smaller sister, she was only 8. So
Mm,
I had to really, even though I was 25, I had to grow up a little faster because I didn't have him
you had to
there
jump into
to
that
impart that
bottom
wisdom and
role for
that
her.
and that advice anymore. And
Yep.
that's a really good point you make. He lost his mother. I think a lot of the craziness started happening. I'm not giving him a pass, and I know people
Right.
feel their way. I see Leo calling them the C word out there on every comment, but that's fine. But I think that I'm not giving him any excuses or anything like that. But him losing his mother, it seemed like that's when the craziness kind of started. To me,
Well,
my opinion, that's when that started.
Cootie mentioned that. Cootie said that when Donda was alive, she was Kanye's regulator. Like, he would go all types of way, and you could see his mom pulling back, like, you could be in the air on the ground at the same time. You are very talented.
Giant. Hmm.
You are very talented, Kanye, but don't forget, you know what I'm saying? Even Pharrell told him, listen, even when somebody tells you that you the bomb, still think that you're not. So he
Yeah.
had those regulators, those foundation people. But when his mom died, even Cootie mentioned it, and when he mentioned it, I was like, you know what, that's right. And although we joked about it, it makes sense now. There was nobody after his mom to bring him down, to regulate him. So that's when he really did. You could see after that he started to wild out. That's when he was on TV talking about don't care about black people. Like, that's when you see he started his rants.
Well, I was with him then. I was still with him. I
Well,
wasn't
you,
with
you
him
right
till
about you
up
right about
until a
that,
couple
George
of years
Bushy.
ago.
Right.
um,
His mother was his balance, but Leo does have a point. His mom dying doesn't make you tell a white racist is like your daddy. So that is very true. But I think that's where his mental health started to dwindle, because his mom really was his everything. And in the beginning, he said, I just want to make my mother proud. I just want to do all of this to make my mother proud. And then you could tell she really was his biggest fan. Like,
Oh yeah, she
that
was.
scene with them in the kitchen and she spitting his song,
They had a solid
mhm.
man. They had
that
a
was
solid
emotional
relationship,
to
man.
me. Like, damn, that I could see. And Kanye had the biggest ass smile on his face. That's all he wanted, was to spit that song to his mom. His mom in the kitchen spitting it back to him. He wanted to do and give her everything. And then when she passed, the way that she passed, he felt like society played a role into her even wanting to have that type of surgery, and it affected him. So now he's just like, fuck it, ain't nobody to stop me. I'm just gonna wild out. He was the Annie Up remix up until now. Shit. So you know what I'm saying? It was like he let his mom passing isn't an excuse, but it's a reason. It's a
True
um,
indeed.
it's one of the reasons,
Ask a
because
question.
there still is
No,
something going on up here, because his mom been dead a long time. So he has
yeah,
now
it may be something some people don't snap back from that.
right.
Um, Let me ask a question, and then I'm gonna hand it back over to you. Uh, he's more successful from that point on than what I mean. Like, he had started building a large amount of success, but it's almost like we feed the insanity. Like, we
Right.
love it. We don't, but we do, because he's the most successful he's ever been,
Right.
going through these different roller coaster emotional rants and things that he's taken us through. And
Yeah.
I say that to say, do you feel like society loves poor mental health and emotional instability and
Yeah, we celebrate that shit. Of
It's
course,
entertainment to
we
a lot
do
of
it every fucking day on so like. Here's my thing. Here, what do we share the most on social media? Somebody getting
trauma.
humiliated, fights, trauma. People
Mhm.
people get to the point where they're sharing actual people dying on. It's like we're
The weirdest
desensitized to
shit
it.
to me.
It
Hey,
really is.
don't record me in the
Dying.
casket. That's some weird fucking shit to me. No offense if y'all done did it. Don't do that. Don't come up to the casket taking pic. What the fuck is that? That is so fucking disrespectful to
It
me.
really is. It
I'm
really
like,
is.
what?
It really
Like, don't
is.
do that. Don't do that.
Listen,
Don't do
Stacks, I'm not sure if I ever told you this, but somebody at my dad's funeral asked me if they can take a picture of my dad.
Fuck no.
I think I
Remember
remember
him
that.
as he was? What
I
type of
think
shit is that?
I think I vaguely remember that.
I
Who
was
would
I
you
was not
send it
here,
to?
so
You look
I
like
don't even know
yourself.
if
Who
I
would
gave
you
that person an
send it
answer or
to?
not. And
I mean, you should have said, look at this obituary, all these motherfucking pictures in this obituary. There's your picture. Fuck out of here. Fuck is going on?
I mean, I don't know, but you're right. And there's been many times, and both of y'all know this. There have been times where I have taken a complete I straight disappear. Like all you gonna see is this. You know what I'm saying? Like I am nowhere. Like I'm here, but I'm not here. You know what I'm saying? Because I will completely disappear off the face of the earth. I've done it. The most I've done it was for 2 years at a time. People was like, "What is going on with Rebecca?" And I popped back up with a husband because there are times where sometimes you got to separate yourself. There's one person on my timeline. She doesn't have a 9 to 5. I think she works for herself, but she just does little things here and there, and she has time, a lot of it. And one day I went to her page and I looked and I was like, she posted literally every 30 minutes to an hour something, just anything.
She
My
got a
my
fucking job.
random
Shit.
thoughts on my way to the store and just random. And her story
Was
is
this
all
on Twitter?
somebody's story, and they have a whole bunch of dots on the top because they got like a whole bunch of different stories. I'm like, this girl, I wanna tell her, I need you to log out and go find some
Go
happy.
live your life.
Please.
Currently breathing. This H2O is lit. What kind of shit is that?
But sometimes it's that, and then sometimes it's like, I hate when y'all niggas blah, 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 blah. Like it's just you have too much time on your hands to think about all the things that affect you mentally. You have sometimes got to save yourself from yourself and go do something else. Do something else in my T-Pain voice. Because if you don't, you are going to further traumatize yourself over and over and over again with the same shit. Like, come on.
Bad.
A,
Bad.
a
We
lot of people. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Do your
I
thing.
think. I think too. A lot of people um get wrapped up in social media, really feeling like this is my friend zone because people are tuned in, and but
Listen,
and it's a sickness. It really is. I know people who
I
not
said
on
Facebook is not your diary. Stop it.
um
Because you
but
putting
some
yourself
people
in this.
really don't know how to operate or function without that audience, without that attention. It's like the Truman Show in real time. People, it's a
Ooh, that's a
reverse
good movie
effect.
too.
Some people really
That is
want
a
that
really good
life.
movie.
They want to be zoomed in on all the time.
But
Um,
check this out though. Are we already talked about this? We're middle aged, 40 or pushing, 40
what's
or
1900s.
the
older.
qualification to be middle aged? What's the age qualification?
I think it's 35 and older, if I'm not mistaken.
All right,
Yeah,
go ahead.
you all up in that motherfucker, Angie. So are we being that because social media is relatively new? I would say what maybe 15 years old,
Yes.
and maybe we're seems to me that's the way of the like Gen Zers. This is what they do: Snapchat, Instagram. That they chronicleize.
Yeah.
That probably might be a murder word. their life, and they do it through social media is very fucking important to these young motherfuckers. So I don't know, we're being dismissive because we're a little older. I think that may be, what it is.
Mm.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just couldn't give it that.
I don't understand sometimes how people think that, and I know social media is a gift and a curse. Social media allows you to connect with people, and in that connection you can get information that you need to better yourself. That is very possible, but most people don't use social media for that unless that is a business thing. Most of us regular people that have 9 to 5s that are not famous, we're not celebrities, we're not connected in any way, go on our social media, and we really honestly, unless we have a life, we don't really have much to post about. So whatever that we're thinking, when Facebook asks what's on your mind, like that is a very open question. What's on your mind? So everybody's posting what's on their mind. And I know that people say social media is not real, but I can look on somebody's social media page and see a lot. I can see a lot about their personality, how they think about certain things, what their daily life is like. Even through my job, like I work at a bank, I can look at somebody's bank account and tell their whole life, and I've never met them, and I can look at their bank account and see exactly what they may be about. So
Stay out of my account.
I'm looking at
stay out of there. Go ahead.
I won't go on yours. I don't even know it. But I look at people's social media page, and I could just see all their trauma, and I'm like, this girl talks about being single every 15 minutes. If I was a dude interested in you and go to your page, even though that may not be the right way to get an idea of who you are, I would run the hell away from you, because you have a if this social media is your image, if this is what you want people to see about you, you are displaying all the reasons why you need to log off and get healed.
Yeah, I agree with this comment as far as what Trey is saying. I wouldn't say it's a terrible idea. I mean, but we and it's right along with Jamal says, we use it
I
for
understand
terrible things. We use it for terrible things. Like, and it's like you said, like it's certain things that I like. There are some people that I just can't take. I'll either delete them or hide them because like they're like I'm sorry, everybody goes through a struggle. I'm not downplaying a struggle, but you got some people out there that play these, pity parties on Facebook.
Yes.
I mean, I just can't get with it. I mean, everything ain't for social media, but maybe it is for the younger generation. But I mean, I just it's just exhausting when you see somebody that's always saying, "Oh, on this woe is me shit." That shit is wild to me.
It's very depressing. And it can be, what's the word?
Counterproductive?
No. When something, it can be very contagious. When you're consuming all of this negative stuff all the time, like, damn, y'all, I just lost my job. Pray for me. Such and such, we need cash out for this. And then this going on. And then you see somebody having a back and forth drama with this person about their boyfriend and all of that. After a while, when those, mixed signals are constantly going into your membrane, it's that's still depleting you of energy, because it's like, damn, because I stopped watching the news years ago because I want to filter my news. But when you go to social media, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. So back to Trey's point, when used improperly, it's very, very damaging.
Yes.
And detrimental to our health, hence the state that we are in. And like, even to the point where, you still have some kids who are real kids, but a lot of the kids, they don't want to go outside and really explore and experience things because they can do all of that virtually. So it's nothing for them anymore. And that sucks. I can't imagine being a kid in this day and age.
Right. And social media is a way that is one of the ways that we communicate, because it allows us to really talk to anybody in the world. As long as they have Wi-Fi or they have internet connection, the person that we are talking to could be
anywhere,
on Mars. As long as they can get to internet, we are able to communicate with them. And that is one of the reasons why I feel like it could be a gift and a curse because it is an exchange of energy. Even though it may be impersonal, it's still a way for you to exchange with someone, to engage in a way.
Another one of the biggest pitfalls of social media is misinformation. People are profiting off of misinformation, and people are being hurt based off of misinformation. Case in point, like you got some people that don't even fact check. They'll see an article. There was an article, and this was one of my icebreakers a couple of weeks ago. There was an article about this kid. He was going up and dunking the ball. In the caption, it had this girl needs to be in the WNBA. It had like 1.5 million shares. Not one chick was on that court. It was a dude, but it got 100. Like it was shared almost 2 million times. That this was a girl doing this windmill 360 dunk. And it's not, it wasn't one girl on the court, but they put that it was a girl, the caption. And like and that's what I hate about that's one of the things I hate about social media, because you can put somebody picture, you can put Angie picture up and say, and put, yeah, I don't really fuck with Becca like that. Post it on social media. Y'all heard what Angie said? Angie ain't said one damn word, but because her picture and some words up under it, she said it, and she must have said it. She must have said it because look at her picture, look at them words. She said that shit,
and they'll create a whole story behind
that's
it.
Fucking wild, in my opinion. That's wild fucking business.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring up this topic, because I see it a lot happening, especially in social media, and then it triggers to real life. So sometimes we don't know if it's art imitating life or life imitating art. So one of my questions for tonight is, what is the major discord between men and women? What do you think is the main thing that prevents us from getting along?
Effective communication.
Okay.
And to go along with that, that communication piece, I think that on both sides, we listen to respond rather than listening to take it all in and get something from it. That's and the thing is, what people need to realize when you're doing that, those are arguments that's going to be infinite. Those are going to go on for fucking ever. If I'm not hearing a damn thing you say, I'm just waiting for you to be done so I can give my piece. That's the issue. That is the issue, and we're on the topic of social media, and that's where it began. That's why it's so toxic now between this. Get this Venus versus Mars, men versus women, and the whole. Somebody else, Rebecca, posted the percentage shit, 50-50. And when I thought about you when I saw it, as far as because I think you might have mentioned that's one of the arguments that should be fucking dead on social media, as far as man and woman 50-50. Like I've been hearing that fucking question of that debate for fucking 10 years.
What?
Like, about a man and a woman who plays a bit 50-50 and or the percentage of who pays what.
I've been hearing that shit. Everybody need to be putting in on this, man.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Everybody. That's
yes.
Too, and going back, yes, 100% communication, and we have to really understand that we communicate so differently. Men and women communicate extremely different. We comprehend things. We take in. We're wired different. Yeah. And once you grasp that concept, like, baby, he's not gonna get it the way that you get it, and you're not gonna get this the way that he get that. Once y'all come to some kind of common ground on that, and then start trying to communicate based around that in their languages, then maybe it'll be a little bit easier. But he said, if you got a job, you're paying the shit.
Listen, here's my take on the kids. Here's my issue, and I think
that boy about to be 20. You think he not? Go ahead.
The reason I think that argument is dated and fucked up because it's not a one size fits all type deal. It's going to be case by case, in my opinion. Like, you might have a couple that's going to do the 50-50. You might have a man that's paying that's being the provider 100% or whatever. Or you may have, in some cases, you may have a woman that's the breadwinner and providing all the money and all that stuff. But it's not a one size fits all. That's why I think the argument should be fucking dead, because all of us may have different theories on that.
Right.
So I don't even know why it's still a fucking argument. I mean, I've
Right. That's
literally been
between
seeing,
those
yeah,
people in that household and what y'all
absolutely,
agreed upon.
But
You
it
absolutely.
know,
doesn't even always have to be in a romantic relationship. Sometimes communication deals with everything. You have to communicate with your children. You have to communicate with your family members. You have to
your
communicate at
friends.
work. You have to communicate with your friends. So there's all types of situations where you have to communicate, and you have to communicate differently on all those type of situations. Some of us are not able to navigate that. So when you have people who I feel like people that can effectively communicate, or even that can communicate well, because everybody's level of being able to communicate is different. Even though our levels may be different, we're both still doing it in a functional way, right? But I feel like people who are not able to communicate at all are not able to do that across the board. If they can't communicate with their parent, then they can't communicate with their friend. They can't communicate with their partner. They can't communicate with their child. I think it is all across the board. Same on the opposite way. If someone is able to communicate themselves properly, regardless of what the person hears, because what you hear is also subjective versus what I say. Because I could say my shirt is green, and you could be like, yeah, but it's mint green, not hunter green. So it could be all kinds of miscommunication there. So somebody could say I'm
It's
light
more
skinned.
like a Kelly, but go ahead. It's a
You
Kelly
know what I'm
green.
saying? Right. So I think if someone is able to communicate, then they're able to do that across the board as well. Because I want to know if you get what I'm saying, not as, and just like what you said, people listening to respond, there's also a part of that that they just want to be right.
Oh yeah, that absolutely.
So it
Mm.
doesn't matter if what has to be communicated upon
Woo.
gets solved. They just want to be right. So my question is, do you think it's possible for us to get along,
Men and women?
men
Yeah,
and women, on every level?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
I
don't
think.
think go ahead.
No, go ahead, Andrew.
I don't think that everyone has the confrontations that we assume everyone has. I think there are some people who get somebody that gets them, or or I'm able to have good communication with a lot of my male coworkers, my male friends. I'm working on things with my dad. We got our own communication. We're very one worded to each other, and it works. So yeah, so I think too, it's about, we can get along. You have to learn how to read the room, and that's with anybody. And what I mean by that, going a little deeper, is understand who you're talking to. Like you
Your
said, you
audience.
got to
Yep.
know how to communicate with certain people. Like, I know that this particular man is highly emotional, and this one, doesn't necessarily listen when certain words or actions come along with the communication.
Right.
Like, so you just got to know who you're talking to, and use discernment and understand how to work with that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Some people are a little more mild tempered. Some people don't. I like to talk with my hands sometimes.
Me too.
I gotta tame that with certain people. I gotta put my hands in my pockets, because some people
Right,
take
because
that as
it
aggressive, like, what
just
you
means
whoa,
you
whoa,
ready
whoa.
to square up. Like,
Yeah.
what you saying? Because I don't
When
understand
really I'm
you.
just a very animated person. You know what I mean? And I speak very passionately, but sometimes you have to read the room and know who and how to do that, how to navigate that. I think that's the biggest thing.
That's
And
that's
that
one of the issues that I have, Angie. I'm kind of, when I'm passionate about something, uh, I may be coming off as angry,
Aggressive. Yeah.
mad, aggressive, but I'm just passionate about what we're talking about. And I have to, sometimes I have to catch myself, because what a lot of people fail to do in communication is thinking about the perception. It's not your perception, it's the perception of the other person you're communicating with. And perception is reality. So those are the things you have to keep in mind when you're interacting with someone. Well, not just the opposite sex. Generally, when you're communicating, that's one of those
Absolutely.
things you got to be very, very cognizant of, as far as And that's easily, and you can easily kind of pick it up the way you start talking. You can adjust on the fly because some of those nonverbal communications are things you need to pick up on so you can see, so you be able to see which direction that conversation is going.
Right, and that's a skill. I think that being able to
Right.
read the room and figure out how to address who you're speaking to is a skill. And I think that that's you don't stop learning that skill until the day you die. That is something that you have to do for the duration of your life. You don't
Right.
get to a point where you have mastered it and now you don't have to do it anymore. It is something that you have to constantly work at because you are going to run into different people. The world is full of billions of personalities, so you're not going to be able to address everyone the same way. You can be authentic in the way that you express yourself, but in the manner that you do it will have to change based on who you're speaking to. Because being passionate, especially those of us of color, when we are passionate, it automatically comes off as wanting to be confrontational or wanting to argue. And sometimes it could just be passion that we strongly believe what we're saying, and it doesn't necessarily mean that we want to argue. But some
Yeah,
people feel like if you whisper and just, I want to tell you that I understand. Like if somebody says to you, I really didn't like what you did. It really pissed me off. Versus, I didn't like what the fuck you did. That shit pissed me off. Same
That's
thing.
you. That's you.
Same. I'm
Continue.
I'm definitely I am definitely more Malcolm X than
That's
Martin.
you.
see what
Okay,
pisses me.
I am definitely Malcolm X at the window with the rifle. That's me.
Go
What has
ahead.
always what has always pissed me off is the fact that you said something that kind of struck a nerve. Whereas, as black people, and you got the angry black man, you got the angry black woman. Anytime we express ourselves and we get emotional, especially in a setting with white people, it's almost as if danger, 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 danger. And I'm pretty sure we've all been through those instances. I think it's a very terrible cross to bear. I think it's totally unfair that we have to, and I know a lot of us out there, we ain't tabling our emotions for no fucking body, red, black, yellow, Cambodian, whatever the fuck have you.
Not
But
Cambodian.
sometimes you really have to be cognizant, especially in this day and age, because people seem to want to call the police on us for just living, so you get loud enough, motherfucker. Call you. What? You call the police? What? Because you're loud. What do you mean? Because I'm loud? What the fuck are you talking about?
Right.
Mm.
And that is part of what Angie was saying, reading the room. Sometimes reading the room isn't necessarily the person you're talking to and what they're dealing with. Sometimes is how you're going to be perceived, because perception is reality to a lot of people. So I understand you didn't mean to play me, but you played me. I know you probably didn't mean to hurt my feelings, but you hurt my feelings. And that's all the person's going to care about. They're not going to care that your intention was not to hurt their feelings. All they're going to care about is that what you said hurt their feelings. So you have to make sure that when you're communicating it to that person, it's almost like you have to give a disclaimer about, don't get me wrong, dot 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 dot. And it's like, why would there need to be a disclaimer if you believe that my intention is not to do anything wrong to you? If I'm saying it honestly.
You know, let me just. I have to relax in my seat for this one. I consider myself an extremely tactful individual. I have couth. I have tact.
Yes.
So for there to then be passion that arises, there was a buildup. There was a little path. There was a little trail. Sent a little email. Saw you read it. Okay, we still doing the same thing. Meeting. Okay, now we're at a group meeting. I would like to interject. These are some of my concerns and thoughts. I would like to just, I know everybody doesn't really read their emails thoroughly. I just want to put this. Okay, all right. Then we have another issue. So once I become passionate, it's almost like, am I talking to a child? Because I told you once, I told you twice. I don't even like repeating myself. I shouldn't have to do that. And for me, it takes a lot to get me there. But when I'm there. And I'm one of those people, if you see me or hear me going off, I'm one of them people you be like, whoever that was, they probably deserve that. Because it takes a lot. Because I'm very patient. I'm
Yeah.
very patient. going back to communication, how else could I communicate this so that it gets through to them? You know what I mean? Like I try to think it out. So when we get to the point to where I'm swinging bats and breaking things,
like TVs,
right? There
I'm
was
not paying.
something in the back there about 15 times ago before we got here. I don't condone that type of energy now. However, I just would like to say,
once upon a time, one time at band camp, there was a TV that got all the smoke.
I don't got no patience, man. I got less patience
it
than a
could have
fucking.
been worse, you know,
Got,
but you work through those things. Now, said people understand the warning signs.
Trey
We
said,
haven't had an issue since.
if per my last email was a person.
Okay. But yeah,
It be
so
like that sometimes. So let's for me, I think backwards, right? When someone is behaving a certain way, the way that my mind is I go, what led them there? So my next question would be, does the way we are raised play a part in relations with people?
absolutely.
So Angie, what do you think is the main thing when it comes to that? How we communicate with other people that comes from
Based
our
off of, um what you mean? What you mean? What's the main thing? Well,
the way
okay, we'll take me and the way I was raised.
mm-hmm.
Um, which is it's kind of strange. There wasn't a lot of emotional conversation in the house. So I don't have a lot of room sometimes for emotional conversation. I had to learn that. I had to learn that. That wasn't a natural thing in my house at all, even down to saying I love you. So
Yeah.
it can be harder sometimes to get on that emotional level with someone because of the way I was raised. But I did the work and I know how to do that. So that is a responsibility once you reach a certain level of maturity and understanding and seeing the way the rest of the world works. You have to do that work on your own. Because you have a lot of people, let's take Chris Brown, for instance. You saw this nigga beat on your mama, so you just like, okay, it's normal. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not as bad as maybe the rest of the world is making it seem, because my mama took it and she all right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like that, those types of things play a huge part. If your parents are absent, or let's take a man for instance. If your mother is a junkie and never there and bringing all kind of men in the house, it's going to be very hard for you to have a certain level of respect for any woman that for women, or anyone that kind of emulates what your mother emulates, which in that case could be down something as simple as a black woman. You know what I mean? Some men have trauma attached to their black mother, and which is why they can't get with that. So it's so many things, I feel like. And I think that's where all trauma comes from, is your childhood at some point that you have not let go or healed from. So that definitely plays a part in relationships, in my opinion. So I want to know can we go down your timeline before we go on this date? I need to know.
Right. What you think, Stacks? What you got?
Andy was talking that real spit, but yes, definitely the way you were raised. I mean, we weren't the way I was raised. We weren't taught to be docile and non-communicative. I mean, like if somebody asks you something, I mean, especially an adult, you're gonna talk. You got to speak up and all that shit. And much like Angie said, I think that in our family. When I was young, I really didn't hear all the "I love you" and all that stuff. But I mean, I think our family's really good at that now, and I think it really started happening when people started leaving this earth. That's when our families really. That's when it became like okay to say, "Yo, hey, be safe, man. I love you" and all that stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, definitely the way we were raised, man. Because if you don't allow your kids to to talk or give feedback. I mean, not in a disrespectful way, of course. And back in the day, you ain't speaking unless you were spoken to. And some of them rhetorical questions to get your ass whooped. Sometimes you don't even know it's a rhetorical question. You ever got that question that your parent asked you? You ever get in trouble or some shit like that, and they ask a whole bunch of questions, and you get kind of fucked up because you don't know which ones you're supposed to answer versus the ones that's rhetorical?
Right,
Yeah,
because it's a question, so you
yeah,
think it's supposed to have an answer, but that's not one.
yeah.
You don't answer that one. Answer this one, but don't answer that one.
Exactly,
It's confusing.
exactly.
But yeah, I see. For in my household, my grandmother was very very big on saying "I love you" every time we separated from her. She didn't speak any English, but she made sure that she communicated that whenever you are leaving somebody's presence, you say "I love you" or whatever the case may be. Whether it be goodbye, see you later, however you want to give your salutation, but you make sure you say "I love you." That's something that my mother has grown up with. So when in raising me and my sister, it was always like that. It was always say I love you. Don't leave without saying bye. Don't just walk away. Whenever you separate from somebody, say I love you, because you never know when that if that would be the last time you see that person.
Hmm.
And um that as kids we hear those things, and in our mind we're like, all right mom, like all right whatever, like you wipe her kiss off your cheek because it's like wet and like okay mom, enough. But I remember the day that my grandmother died. It was July 3rd. We was home watching Pet Cemetery. My uncle was at my house. My grandmother lived a couple blocks away from us. So I had seen her earlier. My uncle picked me up from school every day and walked me home. So I had seen my grandmother. um my uncle was at the house. It was late. It was about 9, 10 ish or whatever. He went home. 10 minutes later, we got a phone call. He walked in the house and found my grandmother dead on the kitchen floor.
Mm.
That was one of my first memories of something I had heard all my life that finally made sense. Because July 2nd, my grandmother was alive. July 3rd, she was gone. And if I had not said, bye, Nana, love you, the last time I saw her, then you think of all of those things as to, oh my gosh. You think about the last things you said or did with somebody in your family that has passed. That is always going to be the lasting memory. Even with my dad, I remember the moments that my dad died. I was sitting right next to him, holding his hand. He was in hospice. His organs was failing. It was about that time. He took a strong, deep breath. That was it. So at this point, there had been no movement from him all those days. So I jumped up and I'm standing in front of him like, Papa, take another breath. Take another breath. He didn't. My mother looked at me like, get the nurse. I got the nurse. She came in the room, took his pulse. He was gone. So the last thing I said to my father was, take another breath. So when you think about those times, I remember the way that my parents communicated with me. It was always, and you know my dad. My dad was a shake hands, kiss babies kind of guy. That wasn't the norm when you're dealing with black families, especially black men. They be like, all right, yo, peace, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it is. So for me, I'm the same way. There's been times I've called my husband. Sometimes he's rushing out, he left. I'll call him. You didn't say bye. He be like, what? You didn't say bye. Oh, I was rushing out the house. And there's been times where I'd be like, all right, well, next time don't do that. Say bye. You know what I'm saying? And for me, that has been something as an adult that I have learned now to communicate, because you never know when's the last time you're going to see that person. So it affected me a lot, to the point where now I have to make sure that communication is there, because if it's not, I think about, God forbid something was to happen today. The last thing I said to you was, you ain't call me back, or you ain't see me, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's a trauma response, even though
You,
it may not seem like it, but it is.
and kind of circling back around, one thing too that I think we have to give our generation credit for is we've kind of reshaped a lot of things, good and bad, but reshaped a lot of things when it comes to how you were raised and breaking the cycle. Um, so back to the original question, does how you're raised play a part? Yes, in other ways. There are certain examples that I've seen that I'm like, I'll never do that, I'll never allow that. We think about our old heads and our grandparents,
Mhm.
how their thing was to stick together no matter what. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I understand the sentiment as far as, there are going to be some rough times and things like that. But I think this generation of women, we have a lower tolerance for certain levels of disrespect. When it comes to certain things, you think about the older heads, they had families across town and things like that. And like we joke about that, but that is literally really a thing. You don't meet these people until granddaddy dead. You got this family over here, and you got this. We don't know nothing about each other. A lot of those things, even
Yep.
though we probably don't handle it necessarily the proper way now. Certain things is just not, it's a no-go. And
Right.
I think some of
Right.
those things, some of those cycles had to be broken.
Oh yeah.
There, when you think about if you have a daughter, like there are certain things you're not gonna want her to tolerate that grandmama tolerated. And
Right.
there are certain things that you know what I mean? Like abuse in black households, in all households really, but we talking about us. Um, from back then was a thing. Like beating your woman was a thing.
Yeah, it
Yes.
It was
was.
just something that you did. And when they get out of line, or like something we said earlier, when they have an opinion because there's no good communication. This generation that we mm, 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 mm.
We're
You're
not
gonna have
having
to talk with something other than your hand, buddy, because I got something. I'm coming back. I'm coming back with mine.
it'll be the
So,
limousine. It'll be the limousine with Ike and Tina. That's all you
it's
got. She hit her ass with the boot.
gonna be more
Before
than
you
that.
before you respond, Stacks, I'm gonna bring
It's gonna
Tina
be
in.
more than that. But so
Okay.
I think we have to accredit ourselves with doing some of the work. And this newer generation, as crazy and a little fucked up as some of them are, they're gonna be the ones that really. That's why mental health is such a big deal now, because they're making it a huge deal. This
Right.
generation is making that a huge deal.
Facts.
Mom, when you beat the shit out of me and didn't let me go to school for a week, I was fucked up about that. Oh, you
Yeah.
know what? You're abusive, mom. You didn't just whoop my ass. This is a
Yeah.
problem. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, and so some of that needs to be done so that we can stop. So that's fucking people up.
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
fucking these kids up. So we gotta kind of correct some of that and stop acting like certain
It's
things that
okay.
we've done
Yeah.
to manage. It's just these kids being sensitive, and because some of it is, but we have to stop acting like it's just the kids being sensitive. No, motherfucker, that was abuse. That
Yeah.
was
The way
abuse.
you
They
came
lost a
to me,
tooth.
it
It was
was
a baby
very
tooth. But what if it hadn't grown back? You know what I'm saying? Like it's real issues, that we really have to take accountability for. And I'm glad too that in this day and age, certain people are learning now to take accountability for their wrongs. That's a huge deal in relationships too. Having a certain level of integrity. I
yes.
fucked up. Like you
Mm,
like you said, sometimes we just want to be right. But
yeah.
nah, I fucked up. I fucked up. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
So
Before you respond, Stacks, I'm gonna bring Tina in so she can join us as well. You ready, Tina? All right. There we go. Tina B on the screen.
Tina, what's
hello.
happening?
I didn't
Hey
know. So
y'all.
that should have put me a little something together.
Tina,
Tina B.
Angie.
She normally joins us around this time. That is my homegirl Angie. You've been watching, so you know the deal.
Hi
Uh,
y'all.
How you
Hey,
doing?
what up?
so
Fine.
since you've joined us and you've been listening in, what do you think the way that we're raised affects our communication?
I mean, I've had this conversation before. Like, you know how everybody say, like getting spankings and stuff is a form of abuse now,
Mhm.
and but then our generation have that conversation. We be like, it worked for us. Like,
I,
it
I,
worked.
I
But
still
did
say
it?
it.
But did it though?
It worked, and it traumatized us. It all in the same
It's a
breath. But
combination.
you know what? Everything got pros and cons.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
food. What's good for you in one way is bad for you in another, right?
Yeah.
Alcohol is bad for your liver, but red wine is good for your blood and your heart. You know what I'm saying? So it's pros and cons. It all goes off of how you deal with it in the end. So you could let it cripple you, or you could learn new techniques on how to discipline a child. Um, Sometimes it works. Sometimes, you know what? I learned how to discipline. I don't have no kids, but that's crazy, right? But I was about to tell y'all to give options, right? But you could still play a game where the options that you give them still works out for you.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh well, if you want these sneakers right now, don't ask for nothing on Christmas, or don't ask nothing for your birthday, or you could do something with grades, with your
Kids.
grades. Like, okay, if you pull these grades, then you get this. If you don't, it is what it is. The choice is yours. But you
Right.
have to make sure those two choices that you give that child work in your favor so you can
Can't
get your
be.
point across.
Yeah. Can't be old school where you if you bring home all A's and B's, I won't beat your motherfucking ass at the end of the semester. It can't be like that. We can't do that no more.
Yeah.
Because I mean, hey, I'm gonna tell y'all a short story about that. Like when I was in the 10th grade, I was clowning for like half the fucking first quarter of school, man. And they give you them interim reports to show you what your grade, is going to be or whatever. And I had like a 57. I was an AB guy, but I was just wilding. I was cracking jokes and all kind of shit, man.
Mm-hmm.
I literally after I was still cracking jokes after I got that little 57. After class, I went to my teacher. I'm like, hey, check this out, Miss Gardner. I don't know how many book reports or term papers I need to do, but I can't take this shit right here home. This is an ass whooping you, but you just wrote an ass whooping down on a piece of paper and gave it to me. So whatever it is you need me to do, so this ain't my grade. I'll do that shit right now. I had a little
Right.
that little Indian tear coming down my eye when I was saying that shit too, because Becca know I would have got my ass beat like 4-5 times when I brought that shit home. My aunt Ernestine, my grandmama, my mama, my daddy.
Absolutely.
It's like 4 ass whoopings. A 57? Are you serious?
It's a minimum 4 ass
Yeah,
whoopings.
that's like 4 ass whoopings. Like
Then
what?
you wouldn't have no
Off
dinner.
top.
You go cry yourself to sleep.
Yeah, off top. So
And
yeah,
it's
we off that though. We off that.
yeah, some people, some kids, you be like, yo, the stuff that come out their mouth, you just want to bust them. Just what
Well,
the boop, real
it's
quick, just a boop, like.
and
So
Tina, to your point, real quick, Becca, and to your point though, Tina, I think that's where there's like a bad difference. Whereas I don't know about y'all, but if a person was grown, I was taught that motherfucker is grown. You treat them with dignity and respect if they are a grown person.
yep.
I'm sorry, I just don't see that same energy from these kids. These kids will curse in front, like we all cursed when we was growing up, never in front of grown folks. These kids will curse you the fuck out, like say all of a fuck you, pussy dicks not and shit. They will say all that shit to you as an adult, as a 40-year-old adult, and they're 14.
I just had this
That's the difference.
conversation with my homeboy.
That's
Yep.
the difference. I'm like, and when I'm walking around and I'm like, when you in a store anywhere and you walk by a kid, and you hear shit worse than what we say. I'll be like, oh shit.
Yes.
You want to ask them how old are you, young man, young lady? What the fuck?
Right. They be 13, 14, and their mouth be they be
So
saying
they be younger than that.
could never I
Yeah.
have never said, even as a
But
41-year-old, I'll be like,
but
oh my gosh.
y'all know what the flip side of that is though? This is we're the fucked up parents. Our generation of
Once
parents is
again,
kind
our
of fucking that
generation.
up.
We the one that
Okay, so here's the thing, Stacks. Right where you said that, that makes so much sense because that's where the trauma come in at. Okay, so there are people in our generation where the beatings traumatize them that that's not how they want to raise their kids, right? So they're
Yeah, I get
trying
that.
a
I hear that a
different
lot. Yeah.
technique, but their technique is trying to be their friend. We ain't friends.
And the thing is, you can effectively raise your kids in 2022 without beating them. You just have to be more savvy and think, like you say. I would take, man. I'll go into my kids' room and it'd be
Y'all
like
teach
they
me
got
y'all ways
fucking
because I don't
it'd
know
be
no
nothing.
other.
It'd be nothing but books in that motherfucker. I will cut off the fucking Wi-Fi, take the phone. Only thing in that motherfucker is books.
Right.
And don't even ask to go outside. Don't even look outside as a matter of fact. Don't even look outside. If I think you looking outside and think you enjoying looking outside, I'm gonna come in and put
Board
some
the
fucking
windows.
Yeah, board the window up, put some fucking aluminum foil up on that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I mean, and I'm the same way, Jamal. I've never ever had to beat any of my sons, but I threatened the shit out of them over the years, and it kind of worked.
See, I'm the
Sometimes you got the look. Sometimes you just give them the look, and they like, oh snap, like. But yeah, you take away what means what's important to them. If it's a party coming up, you can't
Oh
go.
yeah,
Like
oh
Zach
yeah.
said, video
And you
games.
stick
So
and you
everybody
stick
gonna be
with
at
it,
this party, but you won't.
and you
Damn.
stick with it. But another thing is that we have to go back kind of sort of to that village mentality. Whereas, like, I can't be out there wilding in the streets, and somebody from the town, random, some they might go, they might not even go to the same church, but they know my parent. They will see me out there. They'll be like, "Hey, I'm gonna tell Miss Doc, or I'm gonna tell your mother, or I'm gonna tell your father." And that's a prepaid ass whooping right there. I'm just that's an ass whooping and waiting. That's what I call an ass whooping and waiting. Because when somebody in them streets, an older person say, "Hey, I see you out there wilding. I'm gonna tell your daddy. I'm gonna tell your mom. I'm gonna tell your grandma." That's a prepaid ass whooping. Nowadays, what do we say as parents? Hey, I saw your son out there wilding, cursing. Mind your business. That's what our generation of parents do. We will say mind your business, and we will say that in front of the kid that was disrespectful. Now he gonna be this adult when he grows up. He gonna think he can disrespect other adults, and that's when he start getting his ass whooped or something like that.
but I
Now
It's a
that
vicious
let me
cycle.
say this. That was a trauma for me. Not I don't know if I want to call it trauma, but I hated that. I always said I disliked my parents because they allowed other people to discipline me. That shit
Oh,
pissed
I
me
ain't come from
off.
that. My mama didn't play that. You don't touch my
So
child.
yeah, I can't be
now, if
touching
I
it.
did have a child, yes, don't touch my child, but please do call me.
Right.
Yeah. I,
Call me. I'm not
so
Yeah.
going to say mind your business, this, that, and the third. Let
yeah.
me know what they did and they will get dealt
Correct.
with.
Correct.
But
Correct.
my thing is though is that what I'm saying is there were rare occasions where somebody in the town could beat your ass, but I'm talking about nowadays. Even when we call, like I call Angie, like let's just say I call you up, Angie. I call Tina. You got a kid, like, hey, Tina, I saw your son Tony out here just wilding out, cursing all over the place, blah 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 blah. The expectation is like, hey, the expectation from me is, you know what? Thank you, Stacks. I'm gonna take care of it. We don't get that nowadays. We get
Mm-mm.
fuck you, mind your own fucking business, and that's why some of these kids are disrespectful to adults. I hear parents where their kids are failing in school, and they go up to the school and curse out the damn teacher. You're the fucking parent. It starts at home. What are you? So you mad at your teacher because your child
I
dumb?
don't see how
Or
teachers
your
still
child
do this
acting
stuff
up?
anymore.
Your
That
child
was
ain't
I
doing
not.
their
couldn't
fucking
be a teacher.
homework?
Yeah, I couldn't be a
Huh?
teacher. I couldn't be a teacher.
Oh
Because
hell no!
I tell you,
Yeah,
fuck
that's
you.
some
I,
bullshit.
I applaud them like, cause man, I'd be in jail. I'll
I
be on
be
the
that
six
parent that take off for
o'clock
work.
news.
I'm be in your class today.
I'll be in
Jamal is
the
a teacher.
I'll be in the
I'm
six
be in
o'clock.
your class
I applaud
today.
I applaud Jamal because I don't hey I don't know how y'all do it, bro.
Oh, we going to the guidance counselor. I'm gonna get your schedule. I'm gonna be a student in this
You know
motherfucker
what? You know
today.
what, Jamal? You know what? I take that back. I can be a teacher. I would never have students. Anytime I'm right. I'm right. You up? Take the shit to the office. I ain't got time for this bullshit. I'm writing you up every single fucking. I ain't got time for it because when I remember how I used to be, I was kind of a little troublemaker to an
Yeah.
extent. But I had teachers that would what y'all know how it is when substitute teachers come. Like I had some that would come in and be like, Mr. Brown, you in this class? Yeah, go and leave because I ain't got time for this. I know you ain't did that yet, but you will. Go ahead, just go outside till the
Man.
class over.
Mhm.
All right, so
Mhm.
let's bring it back to now that we're children and we're dealing with all of that type of different communication that we get from our parents in a way that they've disciplined us, and then now we're adults, right? So when we're dealing with adults, that miscommunication that happened while we were children, when we are adults, that shows up, right? It shows up a lot in all types of relationships. It shows up especially when you start dating and you start to realize or you have children and you have to co-parent. You start to realize that there were certain things you did not learn as a child in regards to effective communication because a lot of us were brought up as kids are seen and not heard.
Yeah.
A lot of us have grown up in situations where our parents have dealt with trauma when they were children. So now that they have us, they taught us a certain way, even if it was indirectly, because sometimes no parent will go to their child and say, hey, don't effectively communicate. But the way that they are getting raised, they are teaching them indirectly, and kids are sponges. They'll soak up all of that and they'll see exactly what you do and what you don't do, and they'll start to mimic that even though they don't
That's
realize
right.
it. I'm starting to realize as I get much older that I'm definitely my father's child, but I am so much like my mom as well.
Mhm.
And people who know are like, yeah, you're turning into your mother. And I noticed with Jasmine that I'm definitely turning into my mother when certain things that she would say to me that I now say to my child. And even when
I've seen it in action.
you, so you're a witness, right? So and my child is a spitting image of me on
Of
and
you, that's what's so crazy.
on
I'm like,
every
is
level.
this
So
supporting you?
I
Like,
have
it's
birthed
crazy.
myself. So what I'm dealing with is I'm actually having to teach my child through things that I also am working on simultaneously, which is crazy because as an adult, you especially now since being married, there's a different way that I'm going to communicate with my husband versus some nigga on the street, because them niggas in the street, they still in the streets. I plan to keep him forever. So there is a way that the communication has to be, so that way we stay here together, because we gonna be here together till our teeth are on the dresser. I'm not
Yeah.
going nowhere. He's not going nowhere. So it's like as you're learning, you're teaching. So one thing I think that we fail at with each other is wanting to be right in the conversation. What you mentioned earlier, Stacks, about listening to respond and not to actually understand, right? Those are definitely the thing. But I think one thing that we also miss is the person's intent and what is the main goal at the end of this conversation, because communication is supposed to lead to a result if there's a problem that we have to solve, right?
Mhm.
That's hopefully the goal. So what is when it comes to being able to do that, what do y'all think is the first thing to say? Okay, this is the problem, we have to solve it, right? And when you're dealing with someone, even if it's of the opposite sex, same sex, friendship, partner, child, work, co-worker, whoever, how do you navigate having to switch up the way you communicate based on how they're going to receive what you say? Do you guys
Mm.
understand the
Yeah.
question?
Yeah, I understand that, and I think I can take this to where uh, my time in the military. I'm not going to say um, I'm not going to say my entire time, because when I was a leader in the military, for the most part, yelling was not only authorized, it was encouraged. But when I my last 3 years, I had federal employees working for me, and it was a culture shock. So I had to change because I couldn't yell at you know civilians. So I had to learn the people that work for me, and I treated everybody the same, but you can't communicate with everyone the same exact way. That's one of those vital lessons that I learned before I left the military. So you have to kind of go in with a game plan, especially if you're going to be saying something adverse to that individual, like I'd say a negative job performance counseling or something like that. You have to you're always taught when you're counseling somebody, you know what? So I knew Trey was going to fucking chime in, but anyway, but anyway,
It's
you
like you
have
couldn't what?
you have to always you have to always end it off with the good stuff. For all these comments that's coming from Trey, and I like to say work
That's a
together.
good point.
He will tell you why he used to work for me, but I like to say work together, and I don't want him to misrepresent my great forms of communication when we work together. But I learned a lot during those 3 years period, versus the other 17 in the military where I was just yelling, 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 yelling. But just know your audience, and
Yes.
you just can't go into a conversation like that. I think you got to have kind of like a game plan, because you might have to reel yourself in at some point, because it
Yeah.
may get to the point where it gets off the rails, and you can't let that. And the person that you're communicating with may be trying to take you there. Let me give you an example. Like if I'm telling somebody they have a bad job performance, this, that, and the third. If they're one of the most humans don't like being told that they perform substandard. They are going to shut down, or they're going to
Get
throw the
defensive.
blame, get defensive, throw the blame elsewhere, and they might even resort to disrespecting you as the messenger. You have to stay firm as far as what it goes. I mean, just keep it professional, stay measured, and don't let them take you there. These words really helped me out.
Jamal
I'm
said,
sorry.
"Don't just say you was a mean supervisor, but you got results."
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Jamal said, "Don't
I had. This is what I had to learn. I'm sorry I'm sorry you feel that way. Like
I'm sorry you're an idiot.
You are a worthless piece of shit. You're a racist. You're sexist, and I'm reporting you. I want to talk to your boss. I'm sorry you feel that way. But this is where we're at right now. And nothing pisses off a motherfucker that's trying to start some shit with you. If you letting them have it, you'd be like, I'm sorry you feel this way, but yeah, I get you that appointment with my boss since, you know. But yeah,
That's
that's
know,
unfortunate. Absolutely.
when we talk about that particular response that you just gave, that is for me, like outside of a work environment. Let's talk about maybe a personal relationship.
that
To
is a
me, that is the biggest way to disregard what the other person is saying or coming to you in concern to their issue. I'm sorry you feel that way. However, no. I don't need you to give a fuck. Not saying that I respond like this. I don't need you to give a fuck about how I feel either way, but
this is
don't respond like, I'm sorry you feel that way. No, that's no, bitch. What you did, no, you know what you did. I don't feel no way. I know what you did. You mushed my head. Don't do that. I'm sorry
Yeah,
you feel like that's what I
yeah.
did. Bitch, your hand went on the side of my face. Don't do that. I feel like that is the easiest way to not take accountability.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry you feel that way, but
my bad. I need to give my disclaimer. That shit don't work at all when you're dealing with
nah,
relationships at all. Not even.
nah.
I will not I will not go in there. My wife coming in raising hell about something. I'm not going to tell her, hey baby, I'm sorry you feel that way. I do not want to get the grits thrown on me. I do not want. I don't want. We are a happy wife, happy life. I'm not trying to get all that shit going. You know what I mean?
right. What you got, Tina? What you think?
I mean,
And don't start with Hulk smash. We know how you operate.
no, I was a really good supervisor. I think I was too nice because um I never forget where I came from or where I started or how I felt when I had to listen to a supervisor. So I was more open with my team. Um, but they still gonna come for you. I didn't write nobody up on my team. I didn't like
Shit.
writing people up, nothing. I would talk to them like, let's try to work it out this way or try a different technique, blah, 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 blah. So I could look out for you. Help me help you. You know what I'm saying? It still
So
didn't work.
to give a backstory, Angie, Tina is in security. She's a supervisor in security. So a lot of the time she deals with niggas being like, "Oh, this chick ain't gonna tell me what to do," and she'll be like, "No, I'm gonna tell you what to do, and you're gonna do it."
Right. And this was working in a hospital. This wasn't even bouncing. This working in a hospital. It
Oh
was
yeah, that's
me and
right.
another
Yeah, yeah.
chick, and everybody else was men, and they were older than me. So it's like, who's this chick coming in here? This, then, the third. But most of the men were really, really respectful. Only had an issue with one person, and I was helping him, and I was helping him. And technically, security, I was the supervisor's front line. There's still people behind me that's above me. You got your operations manager, you got your building manager, that you got the client. So they saying this, and I got to deliver the bad news to somebody. And he was so upset that he wasn't answering my calls. And
Damn.
I'm trying to find out what's going on. I had to drive 45 minutes to the hospital because I was going to confront him. Because now you're being
God damn.
disrespectful. I'm telling the other guards that I'm trying to get in contact with you and you're not calling me back. So you're purposely ignoring me while you're on duty. That's not okay.
I'm gonna
Mm.
pull up.
So I pulled up. I was in uniform because you never know what's going to happen. So I spoke to him. I said, I was sending out messages. I was calling you to call me, this, then the third. He was upset that we were denying his vacation time. It's COVID. So during COVID, if you go on vacation, you already putting in a vacation for a week. Then you got to quarantine for 2 more weeks. Where are we going to find a guard to cover for you for a whole month?
And where
Damn.
was
We
you
can't,
going?
All means prepare the others because I'm gonna take off regardless.
we can't do it. So he had a whole attitude. He felt like I was picking on him. He was like, "Oh, I've done overtime for you. You didn't do overtime for me. You did overtime for the
For the
company."
You
company.
motherfucker, you got paid for that overtime
Not you,
time and a
motherfucking
half,
you.
motherfucker.
Right, you can
Now
work for
you
Shit.
free.
motherfucking you.
But he had
I'm
a
out here.
whole attitude. He threw the keys. I said, "You know what? Go home. Go home mean I got to work the rest of your shift. No problem. Go home." So now upper management calls him. He don't even show up to the office or none of that stuff. I don't even care.
They
At
call
that point, I
them.
don't work with him so many times and dealt with his attitude so many times. Go home. That's all I had to say. It was that was it.
Permanently.
Yeah. So it's sometimes being too now I understand why certain supervisors are just black and white.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I hate it, but I get it.
Yeah.
Because it's less stress you gotta go through. You gonna be mad? Oh well, it's not my problem. This is what it is, black and white. This is
Yep.
your write up. It's up to you to decide what you want to do. You either gonna be a better employee or bounce. The
Yeah.
end.
So what do you I'm gonna start with Stacks. And Jamal is in the comments, Trey is in the comments, so y'all fellas can
My
join.
device may go dead, but I'm going to tune in as long as I can.
Okay, no problem. Men, what is the main thing you want women to know? So Stacks, what is the main thing you want women to know in regards to effectively communicating with you?
Uh, Give me that question one more time. What do we?
What is the main thing you want women
Men
to
don't listen. Go ahead.
Yeah, I obviously have a listening problem, huh?
What is the main thing that you want women to know when it comes to communicating with men? What is the one thing you want us to keep in mind when it comes to having to communicate with men?
I would say, don't prejudge. Don't generalize because if you generalize, you're going to miss your blessing. Like when a woman, men do this too when they make the statement that the opposite sex, like they'll put men ain't shit. That's it. That's the post. Men, are you talking about men?
I feel
Men gener
attacked.
You know, but check this out though. Let me ask you this though. I can unpack
Niggas
that
ain't shit.
statement,
The end.
and this is when I kind of get in trouble. And I get cursed out on Facebook. Like, are you talking about men in general? Or are you talking about the men that you've dealt with? Maybe you just like that. What comedian said? Maybe you
Huh,
just
is that for me?
attracted to ain't shit niggas. Maybe
Is
that.
this question for me?
It really isn't. I hope I'm not hitting that.
Oh, because I
Well,
don't
you
feel
know,
other ways. I was joking when I said men don't listen. I like to start shit.
Oh no 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 no!
I don't.
No. What I'm saying is, uh, people need to be really careful when they do the generalizing because you miss your blessings on both sides. Men and women will come on Facebook and you see team Derek Jackson versus team Kevin Samuels, and it's always
Oh
a big
no.
fucking shitstorm when a debate when a debate like that is going on. But all you have, I mean, just be open, uh, open, open to open to communication. Uh, don't be so defensive and on both sides, but and hold yourself accountable just as much as you're holding the opposite sex accountable.
Trey says, please let us know up front. Are you venting or are you looking for solutions? What were you gonna
That's a
say,
good one.
Ange? You had a church finger. What you?
So since we're kind of outnumbered, I'm gonna tap into the real nigga side of me. So I'm gonna help you out here. Women, women. When we communicate with men, stop putting your hands on men and acting like you not gonna run up on a nigga that's gonna knock you the fuck out one of these days. Everybody is not gonna have the same grace. If we gonna communicate, bitch, let's communicate. Don't put your hands on me.
Not
We
saying
got
that
a,
you've done
we got
this. This is
we
hypothetical.
got a problem with that. Stop playing it, and then you want to play like, oh, this nigga hit me. Because don't nobody better put their hand on my son when you just tell my, hey, write him a letter if you don't know how not to get married. Don't do that. Because mama comes. Don't do that. But I understand it. And I can speak to this because I've been that woman sometimes where I'm trying to talk to you now. Granted, at that point, it's no longer communication, it's a fight. But the point of the matter is, I've seen women who want to confront a man or talk to them about something, and then all of a sudden it goes from this to it's like, what are you doing? We have to stop doing that. We
And
have to stop doing
let me
that. These
let me let
niggas
me
is gonna knock us out one day.
and
Hold
what I
on.
want
Go ahead, Stack. Go ahead.
what I will say to that, to piggyback off of that, Angie, is what some women really have to realize. Like me, if a woman's still off on me, I'm gonna take that L. I'm a walk away. I'm one of those walk away type mother. The only way I'm gonna put my hands on a woman if it's to save me from serious bodily harm or death. That's reasonable. But uh women really do, some women do really have to realize that there are men out there that will fight you like a man once you put once you put your hands on them. And I mean, and some people are gonna have that take, whereas, well, keep your hands to yourself. You know, some men will say, once you, if you're a woman, once you hit me, you're not only a man, you're an enemy combatant. I don't roll like that,
Yeah.
but some men do. So I would say, just, you got to kind of table those emotions, because I know it's kind of hard, because whatever you do, like when you like slash them tires, or when you, like, let's just say a dude cheat on you, you do this, that, and the third. At the end of the day, you may get that temporary fix, as far as, I felt good that I slashed some tires or whatever, but you still got cheated on. I mean, that's not going to fix that. So find better ways to, I would say, find better ways to cope. And I'm not absolving the niggas, because niggas do some fuck shit as well. And then niggas do slash tires, and be on motherfuckers ring doorbell
I just
cam,
leave now.
fucking doing all kind of crazy shit, and like bearing out their heart on the. Y'all see that? I saw a video where this dude was on the ring doorbell cam. That shit was fucking hilarious, man.
I know.
This dude
I
had
was
a
joking.
gas can.
It was a joke. It was a
This
joke, Trey.
this dude act like he was about to burn down the fucking house, but he ended up leaving. But that shit was hilarious. So, both males and females do fuck shit when it comes to relationship, and I just think you need to just relax and think about them charges and all that shit. You might have that temporary self gratification, but think about them charges that you could get: vandalism, CDVs, all them shits. Think about the consequences.
Yeah.
Well, that's when you find out you're not really dating the street nigga, because he a cop caller. But
That's another company.
God damn.
thought you
Let's.
was hood, thought you was for the streets, but you not. But
Right. Fix your things.
I have put hands on a man before, but
You
mine,
know me.
that's not my
We
straight.
all have, but
That's
we
not
got
my
it.
straight too. I get frustrated when I'm trying to talk to you first. When I say communicate with me, talk to me, talk to me, talk to me. Can we sit down? Can we talk? And you go into ignore mode.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And then you just start ignoring everything. You start ignoring me trying to communicate with you before I get upset. You ignoring everything. You blocking me here. You blocking me there. You don't want to you ain't trying to have no type of conversation. And then even if I was to let a day go by, you still not having no type of conversation. And that's the buildup start coming. Now I'm like,
Trey said
because
he
all I ever wanted you to do was just have this conversation with me. Why did you do what you did?
Look at Trey comment, Tina.
Hey, that's
Yeah, I
why
see it.
that's why I'm
That's why I'm
laughing.
laughing.
Well, my thing is, why did you do what you did? Sit down and talk to me. I could take a conversation. I could take you saying I cheated because this, then the third. It's the ignoring. That shit kills me. That shit will piss me the fuck off, and I'm coming for you after that.
To
So that's
piggyback off
is
what
that the one thing? Sorry, is that the main thing you want men to know? When it comes to communicating with us, is to not ignore us, to just hear
Yeah,
us out.
cause I put them hands on
to
your
Yeah,
ass.
actually
talk.
communicate. Yeah.
Just talk, or even say, I'm upset right now. I'll talk to you later. Say some shit. Say something. Don't just straight go cold turkey. That shit make me mad as hell.
To piggyback off what she's saying, I've been in a situation or situations
God
where
damn. Okay.
where
Hey,
because
that, hey, my
Hold
man.
on,
I
real
don't want to
quick,
make
real
it seem
quick,
like I'm
real
talking
quick,
about a specific person when I say this.
real quick. But
But
don't do that. I'm gonna talk to you later and think that when you talk to me later, everything is like disappeared. You stayed away that long, so it
that's
would
what I was
disappear.
gonna
So that's
say.
fucked up.
That's what I was gonna say. So to piggyback off what she's saying, I've been in I was in a relationship once where we would have a disagreement and they wouldn't want to talk about it. Right there in the moment. Understandable, okay. But they would go on after the fact like nothing ever happened. No, we're not gonna do that. We're
I
not
hate
gonna
that
do
shit too.
that.
Yeah, I
Like
hate that too.
he was like, "Why we got to talk about this? Because we didn't resolve anything. You
Yep.
basically said, let's go to sleep and pretend this shit never happened, and we just that's not
Let's
gonna
not talking
work.
about it. I feel you. I hate
That's
that
Because
shit
not
too.
gonna work. We
because if we
yeah,
go to sleep, I slept on it and thought about 5 more things I need to tell your ass. So you might want to have this conversation now because I
I'm
done
waiting for
slept
the
on
alarm
it
to
and
go
thought of
off. You
five
wait.
more
You
things.
up? Mm, yeah,
So for
it's just
me, my main thing that I want men to know about communicating with us is that we are not all here to attack you. We do not come into the conversation to just attack your manhood or to make you feel like you ain't shit or to tell you that you're doing something wrong. If the truth is being told and you know that the person's intent is not to hurt you or to make you feel any kind of way about what they're saying, but there needs to be a truth told, then just kind of listen before you automatically get defensive, because men get defensive too, especially because there's a lot of women that have conditioned them to think that we all feel like they ain't shit, and that's not true. So fellas, there are definitely women out here that do honor you and do respect you and is not going to talk shit about you or tell you about how much you are not. But when there's a conversation for us to have with you and it's important, just know that, especially if that person loves you and they have some real
Yeah.
desire for you, that that woman is not going to automatically just go straight to attack mode and tell you you ain't shit and fuck you and I could have had this and da, 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 da. Because a lot of men, and this is women's fault, a lot of men feel like, you got a minute to talk, can we talk, are you busy, always is going to result in an argument because she's going to tell you how much you're not doing right, and that's
yeah,
not always the case.
yeah.
Yeah.
That
My
is not.
thing, my thing that I would like to, because I haven't said a comment for everybody comment, but my personal thing that I would like for men to know when it comes to communicating is when you go into the conversation, don't insult my intelligence. Let's just keep it a buck, but don't insult my intelligence. And by that, what I mean is if you know you're coming to the conversation with some bullshit, put that shit back in your pocket, man. I know a couple things. Like let's not play that game. Like if you know you're not coming here with no honesty, no real, like I'm coming straight to, don't
Hey,
come to me with some
we
made
come.
up story.
Hey, we
None of
coming for.
that.
And we Angie, we coming with
Reversing
shit.
shit,
Hey, we
trying to
coming with.
throw shit back at you,
Hey, we coming.
manipulation and
Yo,
gaslighting. Oh God.
we coming out. We coming with straight shit straight from the fucking future playbook, baby.
Oh my God. I can't deal because I get really upset.
If
Don't
your
like
metro
really,
don't trust you.
really. This what we yeah, let me get up and walk away now because there's
Yeah,
like
because a lot of men feel that way, and I'm learning as I've gotten older and just seeing men tell us about how women are with them. A lot of them really do feel like most women are out here saying men ain't shit, right? They rarely run into women that uplift them or really tell them, no, brother, this is how we truly feel. And it may not feel good to hear it, but it is the truth. And if you take heed, it may help you out. But because there are a lot of women, and I see it on social media that will go online and dog men out and just like, so you've never met one good man in your life ever, even if it's not your daddy, because your daddy never
Dudes
loved
do it
your
too.
mother.
Dudes do
That's
that. Dudes do that punk ass shit too. And the
that's
thing is,
true.
it's. I'm glad that's not my experience. And it's a foreign language because from wifey to my mother, my sister, to my cousin, to the women that I'm around, who I surround myself around, they celebrate me. They know I'm dope. So it's kind of like a foreign. It's kind of like a foreign language to me because I've never had anybody tell me that I wasn't shit.
Yeah, that's
You know.
horrible.
And
Yeah.
the same
So
with me. I tell people all the time, like most of the time, as even when I was younger, like I've always been the home girl. Like I've always been the chick that men don't mind having around because I'm not petty and I'm also not the type that's gonna be like, well, fuck you niggas, you ain't shit, niggas ain't shit, fuck y'all. You know what I'm saying? I was never like that. So a lot of dudes be like, nah, Rebecca's mad cool, and that's because there hasn't been I haven't had the experience of having a lot of men around me that have been shit. I grew up even from high school, even my male friends from high school have always been mad. They've been dope. And I've been surrounded by men who are intelligent, who are smart, who do things, and they themselves, like what you said, Stacks, are not walking around here talking about women ain't shit but hoes and tricks. You know what I'm
right.
saying? So they and them too don't speak like that about women. So I'm not used to having men around me that speak that way. So when I see women say that, I'm like, what kind of men do y'all be around? Because I don't know any of these kind of men. There's
That
niggas that ain't
that
worth shit.
that
I don't
and
know
on
any.
and back on the flip side, that's how it is as far as the women in my life. When people say these women ain't shit, these bitches, this, that, and the third, the women I'm affiliated with, whether they're my friends, associate, family members, that's not my experience. I don't know
Right.
what you're talking about. That shit is the foreign language to me. I know
Right.
some onesies and twosies out there that I don't affiliate with, but I will never ever generalize, and that's what we need to do on both sides. Men and women, don't generalize. That's where all these are. You have one person that put niggas ain't shit or bitches ain't shit on a post, you're gonna do numbers on that post. It's gonna be 500, and it's gonna be 500 different opinions. There's gonna be
Yep.
people that's agreeing. There's gonna be people that's disagreeing. You gotta have people that's right there in the middle saying, "Nah, that's not my experience." Y'all need to take a chill pill because it's not like that across the board.
That's because they ass don't know how to communicate. Because there's a way to say that somebody did some fucked up shit
Yeah,
rather than just
you're right,
say
and
niggas
that's
ain't
vague.
shit.
That's a very vague fucking weak statement to me. Niggas ain't shit. Bitches ain't shit. What do you mean?
Right.
Who are
And what
who are
niggas
these
are you
bitches
talking
that you're
about?
talking about who aren't shit?
What
Where
niggas are you
are
talking
they? Yeah,
What
who are these?
exactly did they do?
Yeah,
right? Because a lot of that, like we mentioned, just a full circle moment, a lot of that comes from when they were younger. A lot of women out here thinking niggas ain't shit because they ain't never had no man love their mama. A lot of men out here thinking women ain't nothing because they ain't never seen nobody love their mama.
Or
A
they
lot,
got fucked up baby mothers
right. And
and now they scorn.
I know a few men who have been raised by single mothers, and some of them, respect their mom because of what they see her go through. And then some of them also don't because of what their mother had to go through to raise them. And they
Mhm.
see their mother having to have done some things that's maybe not honorable.
I got
And
a question, Becca.
feel like that's how all women are. And they associate that to all women. It's like, no, that's just your mother.
I got a question. What about the people that were raised, yeah, even by single parents or whatever, and you got the men, like you said, that are raised by single mothers and they adore their mom, but they still treat women like shit. Like, who taught you that?
I dated a man like that. I dated a man like that. He treated women like shit. And the reason I didn't realize this till we was late, months into the relationship, that no woman could compare to his mom.
Mm.
put every
Yeah,
woman in a box. His mother was here, but every other woman was here. So yeah, I'm gonna date you because I'm a
Damn.
man and I'm gonna date women. But it doesn't matter how great she was, she could never be like his mother. Like my mother this, my mother that. So it doesn't matter what she did. It don't matter what. No woman I ever meet is gonna be like my mother.
Man, I
So
know
then why
some
don't you
chicks that
date
be
your
like,
mother? Then?
yeah, I know some chicks that'll go further. Why don't you go fuck your mama? Why don't you get your mother to suck your dick? I'm like, God damn. But
Yeah, because
that's valid. That's
I
actually
would never. I would
but
for
never.
you.
That's
most of the
I
crazy.
time,
know,
but look, most of the time, their mother don't even be all that.
but damn.
Your mother is real
Look,
regular.
I'm gonna log
Your
off
mama is
on my
real.
1%.
I'm
I'm
You
gonna
real.
leave.
got
I'm
one.
gonna leave Summer Walker over there. I'm gonna
You
just.
got
I ain't got no comment.
you got 1%. It's about that
I
time
got
to
one
wrap. It's
percent.
about that
It's
time to
yeah,
wrap
I
this thing
appreciate
up
y'all
anyway,
having me
right?
on. Y'all continue the convo. Love y'all. Thank y'all for having me. Y'all have a great night.
Angie, thank you so much.
All right.
So,
Peace
you
out.
know, a lot of the times they don't even have a good enough example to really be shitting on women. They really don't. They just like doing it because they're narcissists and they feel like every woman has to meet up to whatever standard they put their mother on. Every woman has to kind of meet up to that. And if she's not, then you can kind of feel the energy
That's
change.
wild business, bro. That's
It's
wild business.
listen,
I
that's
ain't never
Trace
compared no
said,
woman to
that's
my
his
mama.
topic. I
That,
mean,
that,
and I had to make sure that I either, as much as I love my father, I love the ground my father walked on. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm a daddy's girl. Like the dictionary has my
oh
picture
yeah,
next to
all
it.
the way.
Daddy's girl all the way. But as I grew up, I had to consciously tell myself the men that I date are not my father. Because we've talked about this plenty of times on this pod. My daddy was Obama before Obama. So my father was the bomb. And he made sure he treated my mother, me, and my sister very well. And not financially only. He poured into us and loved us. The first man
Yep.
that ever loved me was my dad. So I that is the love that I always knew. That was my foundation. So men that I dated, they didn't have to go overboard, but the basic wasn't going to work for me because my daddy already did that to me. I was getting that when I was 10. Bro, you got to step it up. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that I'm married now shows that there was no requirement when I met my husband, because I definitely had to consciously tell myself my dad is my dad. The men that I date are completely different. But the fact that because of the way that my dad was, there wasn't going to be any basic shit that was going to work for me. I was not impressed. I was not impressed by most of the shit that men did because they did the bare minimum, thinking that I was going to be okay with that. But I got that when I was 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I've been loved by a man that never wanted nothing from me. So I already know how that feels. So sometimes that's why men will feel like, okay, I got to do all of this to kind of get her. And I had to constantly tell myself, no, but the fact that I'm not impressed doesn't mean not to still do it, because if that's how you are, then that's how you are. But yes, I am not going to be impressed by a lot because I've already experienced that. Some women may never have. So those little things that you do may impress that woman because she's never experienced that, but I already have.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where that came from. And I know you, Tina, too, with your dad. Like your dad is there, so and you're an only child, so you know that this and having West Indian parents, sometimes it may be difficult because they're tough, but that doesn't mean they don't love
Mm-hmm. Cause he called me. He called me today. He was like, he said, "You made it home." He called work home because I'm always here.
you. Yeah,
So I was just looking at the phone like, cause he not affectionate. So for him to call, it was like, "Oh, you worried about me?" See his old age kicking in. Like, you worried about? That was weird, but I loved it.
Oh,
right, because that's what you're used to. So now when you are in a relationship, that man is going to have to make sure you make it home safe, whether home is actual home or home is work. You're used to that. So when you don't get that, it's like, you don't even check to see if I'm safe. Like, nah, we good.
Yeah, that bothers me. Like, cause everybody just feel like I'm thug life. That
You are. But most women, I'm thug life too, but I'm also sensitive in certain aspects
yeah,
too. So
I want somebody to make sure
we're like
I made it
we're
home
like sensitive
safe.
thugs.
I want to feel like a woman. Like,
Right, right. So let's finalize it. Stacks, what do you think is the first step to changing this?
The first step is just let's say God give you two ears and one mouth for listen for a reason, and that's just to listening to each other. I mean, I'm talking about listening to each other to listen, not for rebuttal. Because if you're listening to respond versus listening to take it in, you're not even hearing that person. They could be saying blah blah blah. It sound like the Charlie Brown teacher want because you're just
Right.
waiting for them shut the fuck up so you can get your words in. Which I mean, it's problematic. It's counterproductive. So it starts with just listening, and I think it would be in a case where you'd have to. I think a good exercise would be to get a like I'd say five men, five women, like couples,
Yeah.
and you let each side go first, so it's not a back and forth. You don't go one man, one woman, one man, one woman. Let all the ladies go first, and then let all the men go. Like that would be a fun little exercise to do,
Yeah.
so we're not so it gives up that illusion that we're listening to respond.
I like that. We might
I,
we
that
should
was yeah, that was dope.
we should do that.
And you know what would help in communication? Empathy. A
Okay.
lot of people do not have empathy. That's why when they communicating, it turns into an argument because one is not putting themselves in their shoes or how they would feel if they was that person. Empathy goes a long way.
I like that. That is true. Because that goes back into what he said. People don't respond. They don't listen to give that response. They just wait for you, one little second for you to interrupt, but, and give their rebuttal or
Yep.
oppose what you're saying.
Soon as this motherfucker shut the fuck up, I'm gonna let him have
Right,
it.
right, right. That is very true. Thank you so much, guys, for tonight's pod. I'm so glad that we were able to do it. I appreciate. I know Angie's probably watching and she's in the background. So thank you so much, Ange, for
Yeah,
coming.
thank her for coming on. It's good to be back.
Yeah, we
Get my
missed you,
ass.
Stacks.
Yeah, I was asking about you behind the scenes.
Man, I've been, it's been a whole lot of stuff going on at work, man. But good to
I
be
mean,
back.
been working. He been working,
Great,
working.
great pod tonight, y'all. Great to be on with the fam. Uh, let's go around the hole real quick. Around the horn real quick. Around the hole. What the fuck am I thinking about? Let's go around the horn real quick.
Oh,
Let's T to B, I'm gonna let you go first since you didn't get to talk that much tonight. What you got for us, lady?
You know, I say the same shit all the time. I'm just happy to be here. I'm at work doing a double overnight shift.
again.
Shit.
Yeah, back to back, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 45 hours in 3 days.
Yeah.
Shit,
So
dude.
at least I'm happy to have the opportunity to even sign on from my supervisor or whatever. And I'm gonna miss y'all when we get off here because now that's the real battle to try to stay awake after this. So
Yeah, glad to have you. We miss you too. I saw you put that in the comments. I miss you too, Team B. Good to
yeah,
have
I
you.
miss y'all.
Cuzzo, what you got?
Um, Not much. I think we pretty much explained it all. I just want people to the main thing when it comes to communication is try to come to a resolve and not necessarily make it a battle.
Yeah,
Try to get whatever issue is at the forefront to a resolution. That will prevent you from being so defensive and wanting to be right if the ultimate goal is to solve the issue. I think that will help. And put the feelings away. Put the feelings away. Sometimes you got to be told something that ain't gonna sound good. It may not feel good, but it's gonna result in something beautiful. So just try not to be so defensive and hear the person out
true
first.
that. Yeah,
Hmm.
My parting shots is going to be like I said earlier, let's just listen. Let's grow. We're better when we're listening and communicating, um, and we're on one accord. We can agree to disagree at the end of the day, because even if when you get all that shit out, you just agree to disagree. There's no animosity. Then that's healthy. That's healthy dialogue or whatever. You might not agree or like what the person said, but if you could just leave, come to common ground, and y'all got a better understanding of each other, that's what it is right there. That's what it is. Uh, Great show tonight. Shout out to Becca for putting this together. Shout out to your homegirl Angie that came through. She's dope. We're glad to have her. Hopefully we could have her on in the future.
Yeah, I like her. She
Shout out,
hilarious.
yeah, she good people. She good people. Yeah. Shout out to Team B for hopping on in the middle of her shift. She about to go back to work. Hopefully she don't have to punch nobody in the face at night. Y'all know how bunks get down. Shout out to my cousin once again. I like that. I like that sweatshirt you got on there too, cousin.
Thank you.
Shout
Yeah, I
out.
This
like
is
it too.
Forever 21, actually.
Oh,
That's dope.
Thank
Shout
you.
out to the squad that's not here tonight. The homie,
squad, squad,
the
squad.
street team general Tazon. You got the homie Mark out there. I see him in the comments, so he watching. We see you, Mark. Mark
Yep.
got some shit bubbling on Monday that's coming up, about to hit y'all across the fucking head. Shout out to the homie Merv. Ain't no telling where he at. He's probably up to no good. But you know what? I
Right.
just wish that brother all the success and wish him safety and hope that he don't get arrested again.
He over there
Um,
spinning his glass of wine and smelling it.
shout out to the
Right.
homie Sean. Uh,
Queens get
Sean was
behind any
on here.
breakfast.
Sean was on here a little earlier before the show. Shout out to that brother out there in parts unknown. Um, that brother work. I guess he works as much as me, if not more. Uh, but that brother out there doing his thing. Shout out to everybody out there on Facebook. We had a nice little audience tonight. Shout out to everybody listening on you. Shout out to everybody that was viewing on YouTube as well. Shout out to the great viewers out there on 1 Mile High Radio. Shout out to the great viewers on one. Shout out to the great listeners out there on 1 Mile High Radio. Y'all can't see a goddamn thing, but y'all be hearing us, and it's a lot of y'all. We
That's
appreciate
Casamigos
that.
kicking in. You
Yeah,
need to go
exactly.
down.
Shout out to Blackjack TV 199. We filming live on that right now. Y'all know we do. Bobby Blackjack come through. Shout out to our partners in the background. Everybody supporting us on the sideline. Check out this pod. It'll be downloaded tonight or tomorrow. You can check it out on all pod platforms. Y'all know how we do. You can check us out. Shout out
Yep.
to the squad. Love y'all all. We'll be right
Squad,
back with
squad,
y'all
squad.
this Sunday. I think we got a Sunday show. Then we hit y'all across the head Monday. Tuesday with the Merv and Tazar show, and we gonna come right back here at 8 o'clock next week, like we always do.
That's right.
So I think that's about it, y'all. Let's put a nice bow on this one, y'all. Be kind to each other. Prayers up to the folks out there in the Ukraine. Y'all hold it down. We done. We out.
Peace, y'all.